have to start, first of all, I am Mary Hinnekip, and I am running for Minnesota House 23A. I have so many people to thank, but I'm just going to be concerned with the people here today. I need to thank, first of all, our wonderful performers, Todd and Jeremy and Joshua, for playing. Thank you very much. Angie for organizing this. Thank you so much, and everyone who helped you. I want to thank all the sponsors, the co-hosts. That has been just wonderful to feel that kind of support. And I thank all of you for coming today. So thank you so much. I think about, as I'm sitting here thinking about, my God, my Thanksgiving Day card that I usually send out is going to be a really long list this year. So many people to thank as far as this campaign. So, first of all, I am very proud that I knocked on 10,000. But I have to tell you, I'm just as proud of the fact that I knocked on all the doors in the whole district. And here is this district. It is 24 separate communities. We knocked them all. Everybody. And I think that's important because I think sometimes Alberta dominates the district, and I think people need to feel we're all in this together. I mean, the whole country's in this together, but our whole district is in this together. So, I think just to start, knocking on that many doors, there's a couple of pieces that go with that. You have to be a hard worker. You just have to be. You gotta have a real work ethic, and I do. I know it's not bragging, it's just a fact. Ask my kids. I drive them nuts. But anyway, you have to have a work ethic. The other thing is you have to be able to work with other people, and you have to be a good listener. Because at the doors, you have to listen. You do a lot of talking, but you have to listen. And you listen with your ears, but you listen to what their faces look like. You just listen. And what I sensed is kind of what Dan was talking about. There's a pervasive kind of worry out there right now. It's kind of general. People are worried about the communities. They're worried about their kids. They're worried about their grandkids. They're worried about the planet. They're worried about democracy. They're worried about a lot of things. So specifically, I heard kind of more specific kinds of concerns. So when I was knocking on some of those smaller communities outside of Albert Lea, I heard a lot of concern about the communities. Their concern is, my community going to survive? Is there still going to be a bank here in a few years? Is there still going to be a grocery store? Is there still going to be a gas station? Is my town going to survive? And so what do they need? They tell me they need better broadband. Nobody's going to work from home if they can't rely on their broadband, so they can't live here if they have to work from home. They can't start a business if they don't have reliable broadband. They need broadband. They want lower property taxes, which means they want local government aid. Local government aid means they can bring it down, and that means that seniors can stay in their homes. That's real important in some of these communities. They are concerned about paying for the roads and bridges in their community. There was a great transportation bill that passed, and the Senate went home. And I talked to like the mayor of Brycewood and some other people, and they were upset because now they were on sort of left in the lurch. How do we pay for the roads and bridges? Further up? Closer, Terry. Closer. Thank you. Okay. I also heard from not just the townships, but the cities. The cities are finding that they can't pay for the upgrade on their treatment plants, their water treatment waste facilities. So that's a concern. That's a concern throughout these small towns. How are we going to pay for these? I hear from farmers that they're really concerned about how do they pay for health insurance. Health insurance has become so expensive. The premiums are very high, the deductibles are very high, and they need help. They want buy-in into maybe Minnesota Care or some of the other programs. So this is what I heard kind of from the rural communities. Knocking on doors, I also heard, and I ran into a lot of young families. And what I heard from young families was a concern that they can't find affordable quality daycare. And they need to be able to access that. They need help with finding having the provision to have emergency leave. They shouldn't have to choose between putting food on the table and taking care of a loved one. The kid is sick, what are they going to do? So that's a concern. They're concerned about having a living wage, having the ability to join a union. They're concerned about all of those kids, the cost of health care, all of those things. And I say to those rural communities, and I say to those young families, I hear you, and I will work hard for you. So one of the most delightful things about door knocking is running into seniors. And when I say seniors, I mean older than me. So when I say seniors, I have run into people in their 80s and 90s still living in their homes. And they want to continue to live in their homes. And so sometimes they need just a little bit of support. Maybe they need some nursing care or somebody checking in once a week. Maybe they need somebody just to organize their pills so that they aren't kind of lost in that jumble of what medications and when. That's something the state can do. They can help with that, providing some extra care. I talk to people who work at the nursing homes. They're having a hard time finding workers. They need an increase in the reimbursement rate for Medicaid so that they can attract and keep good workers, and so that the people who live in the facilities get the proper care that they need. And that's a real concern now when I talk to administrators at nursing homes. I hear seniors talk about how prescription drug prices are very high for them. So these are all things that seniors are really concerned about at the doors. And I say, I hear you. I will work hard for you. Woo. Okay, I've talked to some farmers. I've gone to township meetings and I've talked to farmers, and because when I go to a town, I don't just knock on the doors. I hit the bar, I hit the restaurant, I try to go wherever there are people kind of sitting around, because sometimes I'll just sit and talk to you for a while, and it's pretty cool. And what I hear from farmers is, as I say, healthcare is tough, but the extremes of weather have put them in a really worrisome kind of situation. They either have too much rain or they're in drought, and it just seems that they need help as far as insurance programs, but also just some guidance. What other niche crops are there out there that they could plant? They need to look at climate smart practices. And I know I went to a thing for the Land Stewardship Project about a month ago, and there were lots of farmers, and I mean corn and soybean farmers who are worried about the soil health, and they want to build up that soil health. So I hear farmers, but I hear people in town. And let me tell you, this lake right here is a gem. But 10 years ago, Shannon Savitt got the funding, pushed it through, tough lady, legislator for 2 years, and she made a bargain so that the bonding bill included dredging for this lake.
And she was a Democrat, right?
And she was a Democrat, right? And what has happened since then? What has happened to the dredging? It has stopped. It's not happening. For 8 years, we haven't had representation to carry the water forward for that dredging. So I hear people who care about farming and want to farm and continue to farm. I hear people who want this lake and other lakes taken care of. And I say, I hear you, and I want to work hard for you. Okay, one last issue. I'm wrapping it up, I promise. But education. All my life, that has been my passion. And I was a teacher. I was a director of an area learning center. It was a program for kids who got in trouble as far as credits, and we would help to get them caught up. And there were lots of struggles there. And you had to be a good listener, and you had to help them make plans, and you had to help them carry out those plans. And I know from working at that job, I learned a lot of the struggles that a lot of families go through and kids go through. The House Democrats this time passed a wonderful education bill. There's $9 billion in reserve. They allocated about $1 billion for education. So what happened? What happened? They passed that bill, the Senate packed up and went home, and my opponent voted against it.
Boo!
So, that said, I want to tell the people of this district, the parents, the grandparents, the teachers, the students, when it comes to education, I hear you and I want to work hard for you. So, all my life I have listened to people, worked with people, tried to help people solve problems that they have in their lives so they can go forward. Because that's what it's all about. Going forward, making the best of things and moving forward to make things better. And I think that I need people to understand, I'm not running out of any kind of sense of ego. I stepped up because it's sometimes just your time. Sometimes it's your time when you work for a church and it's just time you gotta step up. And sometimes you work for an organization, or maybe your kids are in a sport. I was once a basketball coach. That's really telling you something. Sometimes you just have to step up. And it was my turn to step up. So I stepped up, and I say again, seniors, working families, farmers, people who care about the lake, teachers, educators, students, I hear you, and if you send me to St. Paul, I will work hard for you. Thank you all for coming. Now Angie has a few announcements.